Hello, everybody. You
Hello.
probably realized something weird went on here. We were sitting here, as we usually do, waiting for it to start up the live. We had the intro screen with the countdown, and then Walter says, "Why does it say that? That's last week's." So now I went, "Oh, crap. I forgot one little setting there to set up." So I had to change it, and then when I went back out, it took a minute for it to all click in, but I see people have found it, so there you go. And I trust everybody can hear us. I did take the microphone off mute, did I not? I think so. Let's just check.
So I went, oh, crap.
Yep, okay. Got it. All right. So that's good. So hello, everybody. Hi, Em. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Glenna and Patsy and Derek and Jeannie and Heidi. Yes, Heidi, take two. Anna and Colleen. And yeah, there was a different stream, Heidi. That's what I was saying. So yeah. Oh well, it just wouldn't be me if I didn't screw something up. Of course, Walter's and oh, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Yeah. He's good at that. Poor boy's exhausted because he's been putting together things for me. We'll talk about that in a minute. So I trust everybody can hear me and see us. And who else is here? Dana's come in. Greetings from sunny, smoky Regina, Saskatchewan. Suzanne is here. And Nancy and Del Marie from Northern California. And Barb and Nadine. Bonjour, Nadine. Is here as well. I think bonjour is incorrect at this time of the day. I think we're supposed to say like bonsoir. Because that means good evening, doesn't it?
I think so.
Of course, technically it's not evening here. No. But it's not morning either. So, hello. Whatever. On that. So, but yep. So, we'll just see who else is going to join us here in a second, and then we'll get going. Long weekend here for pretty much, I guess, everybody in North America. It's the Labor Day weekend. So, it's across Canada, and I believe it's across the United States as well. For us, in the area we live in, marks the unofficial end of the summer because the kids go back to school on Tuesday. Although in some cases, kids have been in our area have been in school already for a week or so because they're on a altered school year. They start in late August, but they get more holidays, time off throughout the school year. And I know in the States, a lot of the schools start right around the first part of August as well. But I think in those states, the schools get out around the 1st of May, whereas our kids don't get out, or in the end of May, where our kids don't get out until a month later, the end of June, usually. I don't know if that's is true right across Canada now or not. It probably varies. Kathy's here. Hi, Kathy. Yeah, I should do a little pop-up thing here because we're going to talk about that as well. If I can find the right key for this. There it is. So, yes, we are going to be having a pop-up sew day coming this next Saturday. We'll talk about that in a minute as well. So, let's talk about what we've been making. I think I'll start. Nadine says school starts tomorrow in France. So, there you go. Yeah, I'm going to show you something here as soon as I find the right button to push. I'm a little button challenge today, I think. Okay, so, of course, Walter and I are wearing right now one of Walter's creations. He's going to talk about his next creation in a moment. And if you look at them closely, what do you see in these two shirts? I'm waiting. Hi, Donna. So what do you see here? Anything that strikes you about these two shirts? I'm just waiting for people to speak up, and we'll see. No, Barb, you did not miss So Chatty on Friday. We'll talk about that in a minute, too. There's lots of things to talk about today. So, anybody? Leaves. Yes, but they're the same shirt.
Yeah, they're the same fabric, only in two different color shades.
Yep. Suzanne just got that. Same material, different color. Yep. Feathers. There's no feathers.
No,
They're
the
leaves. They are leaves. Although I could see how you could maybe, from your point of view, it might look like feathers. Yep. Yep. You're too late, Heidi. It's the same pattern, different color. Yep. But Suzanne was the first to get that. Oh, thank you, Colleen. We like you. You go to the top of the list. She says, two handsome gentlemen. Yeah. Well, I'm no gentleman. Yeah. So you got it. So anyways, Walter has saved all the scraps from all the various shirts that he's made over time for the most part. So he gave me the scraps and I decided I'd make a quilt out of them. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. So this is what I call my scrappy shirt or shirt scraps quilt is what I'm calling it. Now, some of you may be familiar with the design in the center because that is the free pattern from Moda. I forget what they call it. Stephanie probably remembers. So that's what I use for the middle. I cut all this fabric down into 5-inch squares. Thank God I have an AccuQuilt because I have a lot more than what went into this quilt left over. And then I did the center star-like for that. And then I decided, well, lots of pieces left. Let's build out from that. Plus, it wasn't very big. So I did the flying geese points all the way around, and then I put on that border, which was made up of some of those squares that I cut in half, and I had some of the weed fabric, and you're all probably very familiar with my weed shirt as well. I had some of that in a little bigger pieces, so I decided to use that as the outside border. So it's ready now. The top is done. Now I have to figure out how I'm going to quilt it. But it's very colorful, I think. And I think what I'm going to do when I get it quilted, I'm going to hang it on that new display rack that I talked about last week I've got. And I'm going to hang the shirts that have these same fabrics in it around it and take a picture of that. So, you know, shirt to quilt kind of a thing.
Actually, there's one fabric in there that I didn't make a shirt out of.
Well, okay, you have to tell that. Yeah.
I had some fabric that I knew I wasn't going to use. So
very center star is the butterflies fabric, and he never made a shirt out of that.
I never had enough material to do that.
No, but you used it in something else, didn't you? Probably a bag.
I think I made it into masks.
Oh, was it masks? Oh, okay.
I don't think I used it in a bag.
Yeah. But anyways, that was my latest project. And another project, it's my new Alex drawer units, which Walter just finished putting together this afternoon, today. They were birthday gift. I got 2 of these. They replaced some old mismatched plastic bins that I've had in this particular area here. And there's another area. I didn't take a picture of the other one. It's down the other end. But Walter bought those for me for my birthday. We just finally got them yesterday. Well, not because we ordered them, just because we never went to get them. They're IKEA, obviously. So we had to drive up to IKEA to get these. And oh my God, what an experience at IKEA. Holy crap. Why is it that people with big shopping carts and even bigger rear ends decide they need to stand in the middle of an aisle and you can't get your cart or your rear end around them? And they're oblivious, completely oblivious to everybody. You know, and you can turn around and say to them, you know, excuse me, and they don't pay any attention to you. They just keep right on going. So yesterday I was getting a little frustrated with that because we wanted to get in and get out of IKEA, because we were very disappointed we couldn't have lunch there because they had nothing but their sawdust meatballs. The last time we were there, they had a little bit more selection on the menu. I know probably some of you love the sawdust meatballs, but they're gross. There's just no 2 ways about them. And if you like them, you've never had real meatballs. That's all I can say. Okay? And you probably eat a lot of McDonald's. Lips and assholes, 100% beef. Yeah. But they did have, last time we were there, they had a buttered chicken. It wasn't all that spicy, but it was very tasty. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to get that. No, the only other thing you could have had was what? Fish and chips.
Fish and chips and salmon.
And salmon.
And neither one of us like fish that much. And Their fish and chips are more like frozen fish.
Oh, there was poutine in different sizes, but heart attack on a plate. Oh,
And their chips aren't that great.
and you could have an egg salad sandwich.
Yeah, their selection of sandwiches
Yeah.
was egg salad. So I said, let's just go fast food place instead.
Yeah. So what are people saying here? Derek likes the quilt. Patsy likes the quilt. Stephanie likes it. Jeannie likes it. Nadine likes it. Sue likes it. Delmar likes it. Diana says, hi, everyone. Hi, Diana. I got my days confused with the holiday weekend and the back-to-back storms. All is calm here now. Well, that's a good thing, Diana, because you did have it with you living in Bermuda. You had that, whatever they called it at that time, coming right for you, wasn't it? But I think it veered off away from you a little bit, which was a good thing. Hi, Ingrid. Barb says, gotta love IKEA. Ingrid says, big carts and big rears. Yes, well, there were some biggies, I can tell you this, in there. Barb says she's never eaten at IKEA. Haven't missed a thing.
Yeah, it's like cafeteria. Actually, it smells like nursing home food.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And some of the clientele kind of looks like residents of a nursing home, too. Catherine's here. Hi, Catherine. Derek says our town is too small to have a proper IKEA. Ours is just a small click and collect store and stuff gets shipped up from Edinburgh. Yeah, we had something
actually,
like that.
we had something like that in a town next to ours, click and collect, but it, for some reason, never really worked. Well, I tried using it, and I couldn't get an order in there for it to go in there. And so I just gave up. And one thing I found about in Canada, anyway, IKEA's website changes all the time, and it's not very intuitive to access sometimes for ordering stuff, which I haven't quite figured out how they do this stuff. Even yesterday, I had to re-log into IKEA or set up another ID yesterday, and then when I did that, I went looking to see an we normally go to we have to go to Toronto to go to a proper IKEA store, so so I went to check a different store's inventory, and it tells me to put in the postal code to find that store and not just search for the store, which is crazy.
Yeah, because
then I had to look up the postal code
Yeah.
to be able to put it in.
Like we have all the postal codes of Canada memorized, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so we have to drive into Toronto, and that's a good 30-40 minutes to get one way to
get to the one that we want to go to. There's a couple
yeah.
in Toronto, one sort of in the north end of Toronto, and one sort of on the way to downtown Toronto. The one down, we don't like that one so much, so we went to the
Well,
one
I don't like that because the roads are very congested around it, and the parking lot's kind of limited. Whereas the one a little bit further away, the parking lot's much bigger, and it's less congested, so.
But anyway, well, Heidi says she plays bumper cars in Costco when meat popsicles leave their carts in my way, and I cheerily chirp, oops, how clumsy of me. Yeah, I know, some of them are just oblivious of it. And
well, even on our way out of IKEA yesterday, there was a whole group of Asian people all standing around having a major conversation and blocking the exit.
Yeah. I mean, and they were completely oblivious. But, and I don't want to sound racist about it, but I often find that Chinese especially, they're in their own little world. And even when you're very polite and you say, oh, excuse me, and that, they don't acknowledge you. Of course, they're the same people that when you go to tourist spots, you're trying to take a picture and there's nobody there and you're going to get the perfect picture. Suddenly, 10 of them pop up with cameras, all busting in front of you taking pictures. I just hate it. I just got to the point when we go on a holiday like that and there's a busload of the Chinese coming off with the pictures. If I'm standing there, I don't move. I take what I want to take and then I leave. And if they try to butt in front of me, I push them. Well, oh, so sorry. Like, really? And if anybody thinks that's racist, it isn't. It's what happens.
Says Asian people.
Asian people, okay. Well, maybe not you, Em. I'm talking more specifically about, Chinese. I don't think you have Chinese background, do you? I'm sure, Em, you wouldn't do that. But if you did, and you're around me, be prepared. I will push back. Okay. Mr. Delmar says, I bought several Billy shelf units at IKEA and they would not deliver them. I had to go to the store. That was fine, except they were not allowed to help me put them in the truck. That was not okay.
Yeah, well, actually, here you can actually get it delivered to your house, but apparently it's hit and miss, and they charge you a lot of money for delivery.
Yeah.
So it's just easier to go pick it up yourself. So.
And I mean those packs. Okay, two old men struggling with two great big boxes that had to weigh 3,000 pounds apiece.
And then on top of that, he has a bum arm.
I've got a bum arm, my bursitis.
And I woke up and I had some
He's
back
bum back. Oh, you should have seen us trying to get these two boxes into the house and down the stairs. It was sad. It was really sad. And the thing is, you know, we live in a neighborhood where the majority of the people around us are all older than we are. I mean, the next door neighbors have got a couple of boys over there, but I mean, they probably wouldn't fit through our door because they're not small boys. And I don't mean that really in a positive way either. Okay. I'm not talking, you know, tall and large. I'm talking more wide, sort of like what you'd see at an IKEA with a shopping cart blocking an aisle, kind of a thing. So there we were, but we managed to it. Walter had a little device I didn't know we even owned. Only had it for 10 years, he said.
I had a collapsible cart so that I could we put the second box on him, and
we were able to get it up the stairs into the front door, and then we slid the box down the stairs into the sewing room, and at the bottom of the stairs we had this little collapsible cart thing. It was, what do you call them? A dolly kind of a thing. We were able to put it on the dolly, roll it into the other room, and then do the same with the second box. So we got it in there with a minimum of stress and strain, although and once that thing started sliding down the stairs, Walter was at the bottom. Catch! I figured the next thing I would hear was bang, flop, and it would be, you know, what did they call those things? Flat something that were going around it, were all the craze to travel the world. Well, it would have been a flat Walter. Mm-hmm. But we managed, and some assembly required. So yeah, always like that.
So we have quite a few of those cabinets here.
Yeah,
you'd think that by now I pretty much have memorized how to put them together.
In fact, when we were checking out, we were waiting in the line. There were these three. Well, I think it was a mother and two daughters or two girlfriends or something, and they looked like they might have been stocking up for back to university or college or something, because they had all kinds of things that it might have been first year ones, and they were going to get their rooms all set up with IKEA things. Well, they had a ton of little IKEA things. And I don't know what the person who was checking them out was doing, but it kept moving things around, like taking things from this cart and putting them in this cart, and then over on this shelf, and then back into this cart, and then back and forth. So we went over to another line. And, you know, it never ceases to amaze me, but people seem to be very surprised when they figure out that they have to pay for something at a store. You know, it's like, oh, this is a new idea. So this woman's standing there watching them ring it in, and she's there with another lady, and the other lady is sort of carefully rearranging things on the conveyor belt. Rather than packing them up in the damn cart to get out, she's like, what are you doing? Categorizing these things? Classifying them? What? One of these things doesn't belong? What game are you playing? The other one's watching it. Ding, ding, ding. Finally, the guy says to her whatever the bill was. Oh, she looks. Oh! Oh! Oh, my! I have to pay for it? Oh, let me see. She reaches into her wallet. I know my credit card's here somewhere. There it is. Didn't work. Tap's not working. So she thought maybe she stroked it a certain way and then put it on and rubbed it. Finally did work then. And then when you thought they were just, the other one decided that maybe that would be a good time to pack up the things that they bought. So she's starting that. Meanwhile, there's another couple in between us and them, and they've got like one big thing on the edge of a cart kind of a deal. And they seem to be a little bit more with it until we had to move out from there because we only had the two boxes, so we went through very quickly. And that's when all the gridlock occurred, because the big ass wire blockers were standing there and you couldn't get out. And you could see this one lady, she was of African descent. She was not pleased with them. And, she didn't know what she was going to do. And then I think it took up, I was standing there too. Come on, we're going through. I just grabbed Walter's cart and says, get through. And as I knocked 3 of the Chinese down on the floor and ran over them with the cart, sorry! Well, that was what happened in my imagination. But anyways, she kind of laughed. And then I made a comment as we're going out the door. Because there were other ones that couldn't manage to wangle their carts around anything. It could have been a football field and trying to turn it around. They still wouldn't have been able to do it. And I says, and these people are allowed to drive. And she heard that and she kind of laughed. So, yeah, it was an experience at IKEA. So, what people saying here? Elsa says, hi, Elsa. This is an interesting conversation to end on. Get in on, I think, or come in on. That's what we mean. Okay. I'm getting good at reading. I'll just say it. Horrible grammar. Down Marie says, I really feel you and totally understand. I think the word you left out is for. I feel like I'm back at school, marking essays. Jeez. Em says, I totally understand what you mean, but I would assume that I'm the only one who can talk about Asians so don't have to beat around the bush. So anything you want to say, I'd say it for you. Huh? Okay, Em, not a problem. I'm not politically correct much anymore. I'm getting tired of that. Hi, Val. My daughter and I bought some shelf units at IKEA, and we struggled to get them in my van. But when I got home, I undid the boxes, took a few pieces at a time out of my car. Actually, that's what a lady in the lineup said to us too, because she noticed like we had these 2 boxes, and the cart had a wonky wheel. Well, it probably worked okay, but we didn't quite get the boxes centered on it. Yeah. So Walter, when he's pushing the cart,
it's going sideways because the wonky wheel wasn't letting me to go forward straight. So I had to sort of push the cart sideways.
And I think I made the comment about, okay, we should have had servants or something for this. And she says, you know what I do? She says, I get this stuff home. She says, I take it out of the box piece by piece and take it into the house. And I kind of laughed at that. But when we got home, we almost did that too. It makes a lot of sense, really, because those suckers are heavy for something that's just presswood. But they get
presswood's heavy.
Well, I guess apparently it is. So there we go. Stephanie says Philippa was at IKEA in Toronto yesterday outfitting her daughter's dorm room. Yes, I'm going to talk about Philippa in a few minutes because I had a conversation with Philippa on the phone earlier today. Hi, Brenda. Scrunchians. Hi, Scrunchians. Derek says, I find that as I get older, I have less patience with people dawdling in stores or places like airports. I bought my new car in less than 25 minutes this week, told the sales guy to get on with it. Yeah, I agree with you, Derek. I have very little patience for these. I'm not really a shopper. I know what I want. I want to get in. I want to get out. I'm not a browser and that kind of thing. And those people that browse and those people, okay, and when I say those people, the browsers, you know what I mean. They stand there and they fill up a whole aisle with their presents.
It's like the people that go to the grocery store and they're sorting through all the beans, finding the best beans in the pile, and they're spending 20 minutes doing it to get us.
Yeah, I know. Like, or what you?
I'll take a risk and just grab a whole handful and throw it in. And if I get a couple of rotten ones in there, who cares? I don't spend 20 minutes in there.
Elsa says, sorry about that. It's okay, Elsa, not to worry. Elsa also says, like, IKEA is the Costco for furniture and decor. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's got neat things. It does have neat things, but of course you get in there and you walk the path, right? That meanders around. Like they're very clever in their store designs because there are shortcuts. And there are signs, but you can still get lost. And something I thought that was, maybe this isn't new, but I don't ever remember when we've been inside an IKEA, and we haven't been inside an IKEA since before the pandemic.
Yeah, because we were doing the click and collect.
Click and collect, yeah. So they just came out the parking lot with it. But there was a guy asked us if he could help us find something. And I said, as a matter of fact, yes, I'm looking for the Alex Drawers units. And he says, oh, he says, well, you can take the shortcut if you want, and you just go over there and to your right, to your left, and do a backflip, and then over to the other side, and then right past this. And yeah, we still got lost following the shortcut, but we did find it. But I don't remember ever being in there and seeing anybody on the floor just standing there and saying to you, can I help you find something?
Yeah.
So maybe that's a new thing they're doing. But yeah, it's a rabbit's warren when you get in there. But on a day when it's not as busy, which I don't know if there's ever any day like that at IKEA, but I don't mind that so much because I like to, that's when I do like to browse. I like to
but
walk
of course
around.
you decide to go on a Saturday.
Of course
I mean, we can go any day of the week, and he decides he has to go on a Saturday.
And you would still...
Of the long weekend.
And you would still bitch and go, I look at all the people here. Well, people on a long weekend, it's a holiday. What are they doing in IKEA? They're supposed to be out someplace having holiday, doing something, laying on a beach, going to a cottage. I don't know, not laying around at IKEA and enjoying sawdust meatballs. But whatever. Anyways, we lived through it.
Yeah.
Hi, Marianne.
Hit your
Hi,
likes.
Dale. What's that?
Hit your likes.
Oh, yes. Hit the likes. Give us a thumb up or bum. I mean, give us a thumbs up. Landa's here. Hi, Landa. I don't know if I said hello or not because my memory doesn't last longer than 10 seconds. I think I said hello to Dale, Marianne. Landa says, I'm getting too old to be politically correct too. Yeah, I'm just so sick and tired of it. You know, if someone thinks I'm being prejudiced, racist, white supremacist, whatever, entitled, then that's their prerogative. Let them think it. They're not my friend anyway, so why should I give a shit? Really, that's the way I feel about it. Could be just the beer talking. I don't know. It's my first one. Patty C's here. Hi, Patty. Oh, she says, so good to see you. And being politically correct is pain in the bum. Yeah, it is. Hey, we got 80 watching and a lot less likes. Hit the like button. So there you go. So Patty is serving as moderator. Thank you, Patty. Did I give you that? No, you're not serving as moderator. It's just that you have experience as being a moderator on other channels, and so you knew that I had Nightbot up there. So you, when you put in Appland, that came up that way. Okay, I get it now. I'm just talking to myself. Never mind. Suzanne's here. Hi. Since being a widow has no choice, and when I buy something heavy, that is what I do. I get everything piece by piece in the house. Yep. Yep, like a rat in a maze. Heidi says, I mostly mock people driving large pickups who cannot maneuver into a parking lot. That's what those spots way out there for. Want me to park it for you? And you could. I know Heidi. For sure. Landa says he wants to people watch, Walter. Well, you know what we call IKEA? We call it IGEA. Because there's an awful lot of gays and lesbians hang out at IKEA anytime you're there. You'll know them. The lesbians will be looking at the tools and benches for the workshop, and the gays will be looking at the duvets and going, oh, that's so lovely. I'm going to get the window coverings to go with it. It'll look divine. And there's a lot of them. I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. Anybody who's been to an IGEA will know for sure. Sherlock's here. Hi, Sherlock. Cheryl's here. Faith is here. Hi, Faith.
She's never been in an IKEA.
Oh, Faith, you haven't lived until you've been to an IKEA once. Yes.
IKEA usually has something for everybody eventually.
Well, they've got some really neat things there too, and their prices are pretty good, especially if you're looking for storage things. You know, if you need plastic bins or thing, and they're good quality plastic bins. I know you can go to the dollar store and you can buy theirs, which are fine for some things, but sometimes you want something a little more heavy duty, and they have them in all shapes and sizes. They just have a lot of neat things. I mean, there's some things I wouldn't buy there.
A lot of times, like all the furniture you get is you have to assemble yourself, but they're pretty. They've got it down packed as to how that works for assembling. Because I mean, most of the time you get all the stuff that you need, and actually the holes line up. Where some things that you have to get that aren't IKEA, often the holes don't line up. So
Yeah, Elsa says she loves the pegboard system. We don't own one, but I've looked at it. I just don't have any place to put it. But yeah, they've got a lot of, like, they're very good at the way they construct things to fit in spots. Like their stuff is like got that Scandinavian look. Well, they come from Sweden, don't they? That's why you get a Blucher and a Yorker there or whatever. I swear they make. I asked this. I had a girl in a class a few years ago when I was teaching, quite a few years ago now, and she had lived in Sweden for a couple of years. Her father or something was working there or whatever. And she was Canadian. But I said to her, okay, when you were there, did you learn Swedish? And she said, yeah, I learned some Swedish kind of thing because we were there long enough and I was going to school there, so I kind of had to. And I said, okay, tell me, are the words, when you go to an IKEA and you see like the Flugelmurker, is that really a word in Swedish, or did they just make that up to make it the
they
thing?
actually made it up.
She said, no, those are real words.
No, they're actually, a lot of them are. If you look, I looked at that stuff.
Okay, fine. She said they were real words.
Yeah,
well, I believe her.
Some are, I think.
But anyways, well, whatever. Your Flugelmugers and your Woppadampas. Sounds like, what was the name of that guy? Dr. Seuss.
Yeah.
The way he made up his, like,
yeah.
the Windsor-Boxers and the Bullies and the whatever he had in there. No, Faith, they don't sell. Well, actually, Faith, they do sell fabric, but not what you're thinking. It's upholstery style curtain fabric, and it's not by the bolt. It's in a package, and there's not much of a. You have like 3 colors to pick from and 2 styles, flowers or stripes. That's about it. So it's not stuff for making quilts or doing clothing sewing. Derek says, I always think IKEA stores are like the 7th circle of hell if you go when they are busy. God knows how people with kids cope if they have to take them along. Well, you know one thing, they do have cages. Well, they call it a playroom, but it's basically a big cage. So you can drop your kids off at kiddie daycare when you first walk into the store. And I don't know if they charge you for that or whatever. And then you can go do your shopping. And then if you don't forget them, pick them up later. I wonder how many people have walked out of the store with their purchases and have forgotten their kids. Maybe on purpose. I don't know. But then you get always the one that's screaming for no apparent reason. My father used to say, stop your crying or I'll give you something to cry about. I've always wanted to walk up to one of those kids and say, stop your screaming or I'll give you something to scream about. But then they'd probably scream a lot louder, and then the cops would come and take me away.
Heidi says they do sell fabric, but it's home decor weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really quilting cotton.
And it's really not exciting. It's pretty industrial.
Yeah.
Oh, Barb says, hey, I'm Swedish. Watch it, Stephen. Yeah, okay, Barb, tell me then. Have you been to an IKEA? Are the words they use for their furniture real? Or are they made up? I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. Suppose you could do a Google search and find out. Anyways, I like the Swedish. The Swedish gave us ABBA. ABBA is the best group of all time. I would pay anything to go to an ABBA concert if they reunited again. I mean, I would be the biggest fangirl you ever saw with that. Oh, Egenitha, Bjorn, Benny.
Take a chance on you.
Take a chance on me. Oh. Yeah. Okay, so anyways, that was our trip to IKEA. How'd we get there? All that. Well, Walter has something to show you.
Well, I am doing another final short sleeve shirt. I had this fabric for a while. I bought it in, we went to that store in BC, the one that was up on the mountain.
Oh, the one that we traveled all the way to the mountain to that house.
So anyway, I'm making it out of this fabric. It's really neat because it's got
stains already on it.
Stains already on it, so you could, drink wine with it and not have to worry about spilling coffee on it and stuff like that. Well, anyway, right, the spot that I've got here is I'm matching my pocket up here.
And somebody asked how you do that.
I have a piece of fabric that matches pinned to where the pocket is. It's actually, I cut out a little bit more fabric than I needed. Anyway, so if you look carefully on the inside here, let's see if I can get it. On the inside here, I have my pocket pattern pinned in the inside, right? So what I'll do is I'll take this and I'll the outline of the pocket I'll fold over and I'll iron around this, and that's how I'll cut out the I'll iron around it so that I know what lines the pocket's supposed to take, unpin this, and then pin the pocket pattern on top of it, cut out the pocket, and then create the pocket based on that piece of fabric. And then I'll just after the pocket's been made, right, from that piece of fabric, then I'll just stick it on top of the shirt. And what I usually do is I take steam seam and actually paste the pocket on top, line it up and paste the pocket on top. And then I'll sew it around the edges to...
Well, when you say you steam a seam, you mean just on the edges?
Yeah, the quarter-inch.
The quarter-inch steam seam. Yeah, I was going to say, if you put a whole piece of steam seam
No, on the edges, not on the top.
Okay, well, you didn't say that.
Yeah.
I'm just getting
around the edges. I take a quarter-inch. You can buy steam a seam in a quarter-inch roll. Yeah. And then I just stick it around the edges and stick the pocket on the front. And then I sew the pocket around, too, so that it's not just held on by steam a seam.
Seems like a lot of work to me, but
it is a lot of work. But
the finished product is very professional.
I like the way the pocket looks because I don't like it when your pocket doesn't match the pattern.
Yeah, well, Jeannie says it's looking good. Barb says, how the hell would I know? I was born in Canada. My ancestors are Swedish. Well, you brought it up, Barb. So, I don't know. Maybe you absorb Swedish language through your pores, across the generations. I don't know. Heidi says, I had Give Me, A Man After Midnight as an earworm the other day. Didn't remember enough lyrics to banish it. Oh, yeah, now I've got the earworm. Thank you for that, Heidi. Nancy loves the fabric, Walter. Yeah, that was that. You remember way back after we came back from BC, but I posted a video and I actually sort of interviewed the lady.
Yeah.
That was the one, what was that called, that quilt store? Tiny little place in a house. We didn't even know if we were in the right place, but she's the one that did all the really miraculous art like quilts with scraps and other things. She was phenomenal with that. And which reminds me, we're into September now. I should contact her and see if I can do an interview with her. Oh, by the way, while I'm talking about interviews, a lot of you have been giving me suggestions for people I could interview, and thank you for that. I asked for that. However, I'm getting a lot of people are sending me ones I've already interviewed. So what I've done in the show notes below, and I'll do that in the Idiot Quilter this week as well, I have put in the URL for my list of the Idiot Quilter Presents, the playlist. And so if you're thinking of someone you think I should interview, if you just take a quick minute and look at that list, you'll see their names in the titles. You'll know whether or not I've interviewed them or not. Now, I've had a couple that have, one I haven't heard from them. I tried, against my better judgment, that guy. I've had several of you ask many times over to interview the one Dave. Is it Dave's Craft Room or just Dave? He's the guy who does like really out there types of quilts, He just did one called Cheez-It, based on the snack, Cheez-Its and stuff like that. I have sent him over the past year about 3 emails. I've never had an answer from him, so I don't know whether he's not getting my emails or he's just ignoring it. He doesn't want to do this. I suspect that somebody said to me they thought he's probably a very private person. Well, that could be. I don't beg for it, but I thought I'd give it one more try, and I still haven't heard anything from him, so that's it. That's the last time I'm trying for that one. I've had a couple of other ones that have ignored me as well. Again, I never know whether they didn't get the email or whether they're just not interested. It would have been nice if they could have told me. And I've had some that have told me. I had one today from someone that I asked for an interview with, and she's going through a very difficult time right now. Yeah, she said she'd like to, but she doesn't know from day to day. She's looking after, she didn't go into details, but she's looking after a couple of people that sound like they're in very bad health, where it's any one day. You don't know whether you're going to have to be called to do something or whatever. I don't know if it's elderly parents or a child or something like that. So yeah, but at least what she did was send me an acknowledgement that she got my email, and so that's fine. That was very nice of her to take the time to do that. So I'm still looking for some other ones out there, and well, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, Derek said the store's name was Corolla.
Oh, that was it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Corolla.
yeah, Corolla. Yeah, like crayon. Yeah, that's right. I knew I'd look back on my stuff, I'd find it again. But yeah, that's it. Thanks.
That's
Derek.
where I bought the fabric.
Yeah. I'm just trying to catch up here. Oh, Anna says IKEA has a naming convention. Bed and bath named after flowers and plants. Oh, okay. And I take it it's probably Swedish flowers and plants. And fabrics have girls' names. Oh, okay. Didn't know that. Gail, thanks you for the demo. And Rebecca, hi Rebecca. IKEA uses real Swedish words, names, and places, believe it or not. Okay. I'm gonna get Walter to do some research on this because he thinks they're made up.
Well, I read it somewhere a long time ago, so I'll have to double
Well, you're
check.
going to have to find the definitive, and we'll talk about that next week.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
because heaven forbid that
and Anna says she thinks shelving storages has boys' names, which makes sense. The
Alex,
stores
the
be
Billy,
Alex and
yeah.
Billy, and
But what about a Calexa? Calyx? What's that?
Alex.
Calyx.
Oh,
They have ones that are called Calyx, too. They have Alex, which are the ones I bought. They have ones
have a
called
Billy.
Calyx. They have a Billy. I don't know. Dave may get a quilt from Old Ties. Yeah, I saw that one, Anna.
that would be heavy.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, he's got some... I can't say I like his quilts. I don't hate them, but they're just not my aesthetic, but that's fine. But I'll have to say he's very, very creative with what he does with them. And he's kind of a rebel. He doesn't really follow the rules, so the quilt police would get him at some point. But it's very creative stuff. But, oftentimes highly creative people tend to lack in other areas. Like, I don't know, maybe socially he's a little, back there. I almost suspect he might actually be, I don't know, on the, autistic spectrum. Autism spectrum. I don't know. And the reason I say that is he has some of the same characteristics as my niece does, and she's sort of on the spectrum too, although she was never officially diagnosed as such. So, I don't know. Whatever.
And those people are really, really, really not just autistic, but people that are not very social are often very smart.
Very, very smart. Very creative kind of thing. My niece is definitely, she's very smart. But, yeah. Rebecca says, I think Walter is wrong. It might be a first. Yeah, so I'm hoping, Rebecca. Yeah.
I have been wrong before.
Oh, when? Yeah, but you don't admit to it.
No, well, why should I?
Well, because if you're wrong on this one, you're not
You're
going
an
to get
idiot.
the end of it.
I'm not wrong with that.
Well, I might be an idiot, but you're just an asshole. So there you
well,
go.
that's okay.
I'd rather be an idiot. Yeah, and before anybody says that don't have a domestic, we're not having a domestic. They're terms of endearment. How are you, asshole? I love you a lot. I'm fine, idiot. You're cute. And that never gets to that point either. So anyways, what we were talking about, you were showing your shirt, yeah, and everything. So things coming up. Okay. Of course, we have Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen on Wednesday, as per usual. So link is in the show notes. You know the routine. Pop-up sew day. We are having one. I have not...
You are having one.
I am... Okay, I'm getting to what you're doing. Yes. Pop-up sew day next Saturday, September the 9th, starting at 8 a.m., but it's a come and go. You know the routine. All are welcome, even if you're somebody new here and have never heard about the pop-up sew day, and I have the hiccups now, then it's not just for quilters, although the vast majority of people on there will be probably quilters, but any kind of sewing, any kind of creation. I mean, if you are a art journalist, if you are a scrapbooker, if you do paper crafts, if you sketch, it doesn't matter. Crochet, knitting, sewing, picking your nose, it's all fine. Maybe not the picking your nose. Turn off the video at that point. Okay. But yeah, all are welcome. We always have a good time. Now, for those of you, the Walter fan club, I'm sad to say Walter will not be there. Why, Walter?
Because I'll be going to my own sewing group's place.
Why, Walter, when ours is so much more fun than the one you go to?
Well, I would care to differ sometimes. You don't have witches at them.
Well, this is true. And he met a real witch. He didn't mean just one woman who was being bitchy at it. We talked about that last week or
yeah, we were sewing away, and there's a woman that came in all dressed up as a witch with a pointed hat and everything. And yeah.
So
that was interesting.
Of course, then he's also had the other, like the guy who was sewing a fetish outfit, or what was it?
Yeah, it was. I'd never seen him again, but he's Mike or Michelle, depending on which
he feels that day.
How he feels that day.
Sometimes you feel like a woman, sometimes you don't.
And he was altering a straitjacket and sewing wrist restraints. So
I wasn't
then he
at
that one that I was at. He came said to me, "Oh well, maybe next time I'll come and sew something more normal." I'm not sure what normal is.
So, although maybe then it is, we don't have that kind of thing on the pop-up sew day usually.
Well, that doesn't usually happen. I'm getting pulling stuff out of your.
Well, get your hands out of
anyway.
my
So,
thread pot.
so anyway, yeah, that was that. And then we had the witch come the other week, and she
bell on you.
Yeah, and then she was all dressed in black, bodysuit, and this big pointed hat, which I had to take a second look at when she came in. But it was entertaining.
Did she have shoes to match the hat, like little curly toes on them or something?
No, she just had like ballet type slippers.
Oh, okay. So she was a witch ballerina, right? Oh, tutu to you. Yeah. So, anyways, next Saturday, be there, be square, whatever. With it, links in the show notes. But those of you on my mailing list, you will get a notification.
Brendan is usually sewing drag outfits.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean nothing suggests a sew day with the drag queen until they mention, God, have you ever tried to sew through sequins? It's a lot. We went out to dinner with this group on this past Wednesday night. I actually got asked if I wanted to go. I was in shock. I was looking forward to opening up a can of beans in that case. But I said, okay, we'll go. So I met the other ones that I've heard so much about but have never met before. And everything that Walter said about them was absolutely true. I'm not going to get into it at all. But yeah, it was kind of an interesting evening with the group, so to speak. But no, I don't go to their sew days because I'd rather do my pop-up sew day. I don't want to lug my stuff. That's more than any
Well,
of
actually,
it.
I don't really like lugging my stuff either.
Well, no, that's not the main reason. My main reason is I like the people that are come to my pop-up sew day. I don't mind the people you sew with, but it's just not the same as they're not the same as my people.
No.
People, I love you, my people. Yes, I do. Give me more likes. I just gave you a compliment. I love you. Give me more likes. I'll love you more. But whatever. Landa says, as my granddaughter would say those bad words. And Barb says, Walter was wrong once, back in 73.
No, maybe it was 83.
You know, whatever. Yeah. Right.
The day I met you.
Yeah. That was the bad word. Yeah, right. Derek says, did she bring a broomstick?
No, she didn't. She did not bring a broomstick. She brought her sewing machine and her serger. And
no, she was a serious witch.
She did take her hat off to sew.
She was a serious stitching witch.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyways, yes, we had the dinner out. We went to a place called Baton Rouge, which is a steakhouse. I hadn't been there since way before the pandemic. It's okay. It's not my place of choice.
Baton Rouge is a French Canadian steakhouse.
Yeah, well, they give you that. Is it really French Canadian,
Yeah,
or are they
it's based in Quebec.
Oh, is it? Okay, so I just figured they just like IKEA, they just made up the name to make it sound French.
No.
But whatever. But you like the ribs. Actually,
Yeah,
a bunch
the
of you
ribs
seem to
are
like the
good,
ribs.
yeah.
I don't. I like ribs, but that's
Actually, you don't necessarily have to pick them up to eat them.
They fall right off the bone.
Yeah.
Oh, fall off the bone ribs. Yeah.
Fall off the bone.
Falling off the bone. Yeah, there's a joke in there somewhere. Yeah, but they're messy.
They weren't messy.
I have a problem eating messy foods in a restaurant. My reason is because I'll be wearing it. So I don't. I had the
That doesn't stop you.
I had the prime rib sandwich, which was actually okay.
Doesn't stop
But
you
it doesn't
from
stop me from what?
Yeah, like at A&W yesterday.
I have a little drippy problem with ketchup that went down my pants and on my shirt. Yes, there was a problem. No doubt it's because I took that bite of that Mama's spicy pickle burger or something, and it shocked me. It was a spicy pickle. That's a spicy pickle. Whatever. Anybody had one of those yet from A&W? I don't know if you can get them in the States. Do they have A&Ws in the States?
I think they do, but I don't think they're that prevalent.
Yeah. But, yeah. The meat tastes funny, though.
Yeah.
It's
Last
not like
time
it
the
was-
hamburger I had yesterday wasn't all that.
Well, they have these free-range cows with no steroids or hormones. Personally, I love chemicals. I think chemicals make everything better. In the 21st century, I was raised on chemicals. I mean, processed foods. Yeah, chemicals. You give me something that's all natural and I don't know how to handle it. Really. Give me those hormones. But anyway, so that was okay. Nancy says, yeah, we have A&W. Okay. I don't know if A&W is a Canadian company or an American company. It's probably
American.
It's
now.
probably American
It
now.
may have been
Yeah.
Canadian, but it's American now.
It's Albert and Walter.
Yeah.
That's what A&W stands for. Albert and Walter. So anyways, we had dinner out. Okay. Another announcement. It's coming. The main announcement for the fall retreat. The date is October the 21st, Saturday, October the 21st. So circle your calendar. About the middle of this month, middle of September, I will do a special video explaining about what's happening with the retreat, how to pre-register for it, and all that good stuff. And I'll also be sending that information out to anybody that's on my Idiot Quilter mailing list as well. So there'll be details coming in around September the 15th or so. So watch for it. So that's October the 21st. For anybody new that's never been to one of my retreats, the retreat is free, but you do have to pre-register to reserve your spot. And I have 3 guest speakers that'll be on during the day, and there are prizes as well. And it's always a lot of fun. I enjoy myself. I never get any sewing done because I'm too busy manning about 3 different computers and that kind of thing for it all to make sure everything's running well. But yeah, so think about it. If you're free that day, it is sort of a come and go, but as you'll hear when I make the announcement, I don't recommend that because even though you're pre-registered, it makes my job a little more difficult to make sure that, you actually are showing up for it. I'll have more details about that, though, in another couple of weeks. Now, you may have gotten an email from me the other day all about, on Saturday, I guess I sent it out. Yeah, Saturday. I was having an email issue.
It was Friday you would have sent it out, wouldn't it? Because it was on Friday is when we were
That's
going to
right.
do So Chatty.
No, I sent the email out on Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And you mentioned So Chatty. Yeah, we're going to mention that too, why we didn't have So Chatty, and it's related to this. I don't know. I noticed on about Friday, I wasn't getting the number of emails I usually get. Now, I usually get inundated, and lately I've been inundated with emails that are scam ones, and I've been blocking them, doing something called blocking the domain. But I wasn't seeing any from people I usually get emails from on a regular basis as well. And I'm thinking, what's going on? Like, not all these people are away or whatever. And I'd sent out a couple of messages as well. And apparently I found out after the fact that they did get those messages, and they did reply, but I wasn't getting the reply. So that was a bit worrisome. So I contacted Bell. That was Friday that I contacted Bell. That's our provider. And I did it through their chat mode. And I do chat mode because, these companies, they hire out to third party overseas. And I don't understand their well, first of all, they usually have a bad phone connection. And two, I usually can't understand their accent at all with it. But if I do the chat mode on there, I find that, yeah, that's a lot clearer. And and it seems to work a little bit more efficiently as well. So I talked to somebody on there. She had a name that used every letter in the alphabet and a few letters I didn't know existed in the alphabet. And yeah, got to the point where she's okay. She had me do this, she had me do that. That wasn't working. So she said she would put it up to the next level. Expect a call within 2 hours from somebody else. A call. All right. 2 hours went by, nothing. 3 hours went by. Meanwhile, I'm trying other things myself. I wasn't just leaving it all to their own devices. So about 5 hours later, I get a call. Okay. Bad phone connection. And I don't know what this person is saying. I haven't got a clue. And I finally said to the person, look, I am sorry. I said, but you've got a bad phone connection. I said, I can't, there's all this noise in the background. I can't hear you. And I said, I'm sorry, but I do not understand your accent. And then she said something about in 5 minutes, which sort of sounded like maybe she was going to call back or have somebody call back or something like that. Nope, never happened. Never happened at all. So on Saturday, I decided I'd go back onto chat and try again. This time I got somebody who really knew what they were doing, and we solved the problem. I don't know what the problem was. I still do not know. I suspect that the provider, Bell, was doing an upgrade because they do this. And every time they do an upgrade or a change to their system, something goes wrong. And I couldn't even connect into my email at that point. So I worked with this guy, and within about 20 minutes, we had it all fixed up, and that was good. But now I'm thinking, okay, have I screwed something else up on my own because I was trying some other things? I unblocked a whole bunch of domains and whatnot. I looked through my mailing list to see where you people write from, and many of you are on Gmail. Some are on Outlook. Didn't know that still existed. AOL. Wow, I think there were 2 on that. And a few others on it. So I put them all into a list that's called Safe Senders. And then I decided, all right, I'm going to send out an email to everybody on my list and just ask them, and some of you got it, or, did this, to send me back that I was having trouble with my email. Just send me a quickie saying test or that you got it. And thank you for that. All of you that did that. Because everything is working now. So fine, cross my fingers, it stays that way. Whatever. But these things happen. So in the meantime of going through all of this on Friday and on Saturday, we didn't do so chatty. We thought about doing it on Saturday, but then we went to IKEA. By the time I got home from dodging big butts carts and trying to lift 3,000 pounds of compressed wood downstairs, didn't really feel like doing a So Chatty. So we're saving that episode for next week. So sorry if you went looking for it and didn't find it. Yeah, we didn't do it. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. See what about. She bought a Swiffer instead.
She brought a Swiffer instead.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Actually, I'm in love with those Swiffers. I don't know why I hadn't used them before.
You mean the dusting one?
Yeah, the dusting one. I'm really in love with it. I mean, it works. It does. It really does. In fact, I bought a big, huge box of replacement fuzzies for them at Costco. They were on sale with it. So I really like them. Just seeing what everybody. Yeah, Nancy says they have that. Okay, so that's why we didn't have so chatty. Um, Now I've created a new email connection. You'll notice this. You know how I always put my email in all my show notes. Walter suggested that there's probably bots out there, and yeah, there probably are for sure. That go and they scan the show notes on people's YouTubes and find and take from them any email addresses they find, and then wreak havoc on everybody. And so I have changed it. I have created a new email address simply for the channel. So if you need to write to me, and you don't know, those of you that already have my original email address, just keep it. That's fine. That's not a problem. Okay. But anybody new, you'll find it says theidiotquilter@gmail.com. I have that set up in such a way that the message will come to my real email address from the Gmail. So I'm just doing that as a precaution in case, because if the scammers get in there and they get that, it is not attached to anything like your email addresses or anything like that. Well, even my main one's not attached to your email addresses. I have a contact list.
You don't want your regular address to get bombarded.
Well, no, by that kind of stuff. So that's what's in there now. It's just a little safeguard. It's really sad. Stephanie on her video the other day mentioned this too, about contests and stuff that people have, and they've got these bots out there that scan through looking for contests to wreak havoc on people who are being very nice to their subscribers and everything like that. Why is everything a scam these days? Why? And that's going to lead me into something else that we're going to talk about that's a little bit more serious in a moment. And in fact, that leads me into it right now. Okay, we have a refugee problem in Canada created by our federal government, by Trudeau. And we've talked a little bit about this before, but just to recap it, basically, for some reason, he has told the world that if you claim asylum, Canada will take you in. So what do we got? All kinds of people, many of them coming from, Africa over here, and they're all coming in claiming,
more or less human rights violations.
Yeah, human rights violations over there, and we're taking them in. But here's the problem. They're going to the big cities, i.e. Toronto. Toronto doesn't have the money to support them. The infrastructure is not there for that many people coming in at once. There's no shelter for them. We don't have shelter in Toronto for our usual homeless, let alone refugees coming in. The government, the federal government, is not giving enough money to facilitate, getting them shelters, helping them find jobs, getting them food, getting them medical attention, things like that. It's a real bad crisis. However, on the news, they've been interviewing some of these people. And I don't know if it's just the ones that they happen to pick to be interviewed or it's a coincidence, but a lot of them are stating this. They're saying, yes, they're seeking asylum because they are gay, lesbian, or bisexual. An awful lot of them are claiming bisexuality, actually. More so, at least the ones I've heard of on the news, more so than just being gay or lesbian. And that in their country, that's illegal and they will be put into prison or worse for that. Well, yes, there are countries in the world that do that. That's a very real thing for the LGBTQ community in those countries. But I can't help think, and maybe I'm just being too skeptical.
Well, we're trying to figure out, it depends on how they vet these people as to, is there a way that they have to prove that they're being persecuted or what? Because if somebody just goes in and say, well, I'm being persecuted because I'm bisexual, right? Is that enough for them to claim refugee status? Apparently,
it is. They're getting in here the whole bit. Now, I know how that makes me sound. that makes me sound very uncharitable and the whole bit, but I believe charity starts at home in our own country. And we have a homeless problem in this country with people who are Canadians, okay, who have been here in the whole bit. Why are we opening our doors to other people in the world as if we don't have any problems of our own here? So, in my way of thinking, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but in my mind, this is compounding a problem we already have that exists in our country. It's making it worse and worse. Also, now this is going to sound bad, but there are individuals that come from certain countries in the world that are infamous for basically having a whole industry that is based upon scamming. So, are some of these people coming over here scammers? Are they scamming to get into our country and to who knows what, start up who knows what kind of illegal businesses or trade practices or something like that? I don't know. I'm just saying we're borrowing more trouble. We have enough problems here.
Like I'm just saying, how do they vet these people to come over? So
well, it doesn't seem like they are vetting them.
Yeah.
It just seems if you claim that you're looking for asylum, we're saying, okay, come on in, no problem with that. What are other people's thoughts on this? Barb says, I was at a superstore yesterday. I was sitting in my vehicle waiting for my daughter, a woman, immigrant, came to my window asking for money for her to buy groceries. Yeah, and you want to know something, Barb? First of all, your heart goes out to them, right? Because that's human nature. We see another human being suffering, we want to help, generally, okay? But you see these people standing on the street corners or on the islands off a major ramp on the highway with a cup out and the whole bit. But they look like they're able-bodied people. They should be able to get a job. And here in our country right now, we have lots of jobs available. Yes, they are not jobs that are going to put you as a CEO of a major corporation, and you're not going to make a 6-digit salary from these. But it's a job.
Yeah, but then sometimes people have records and things like that, and then they can't get work because they have a record.
Okay, but our country does have, if these people have a record, we do have facilities to help them get a job. You know, we don't leave them just out in the cold. Yes, there's a lot of bureaucracy with it. Is it a perfect system? Far from it. But there are facilities. But some of these people, they choose not to use those facilities for whatever reason in their mind, okay? But then if they're coming from another country and are they being legit? Or is this a scam? Is this a scam? Because we've had reports of where, over the years, where, there's some homeless person on the streets of Toronto with the cup, begging, head down, the whole bit. People are giving them money. At a certain time, they pack up their dirty old blanket, their little cup full of money and other things, and trot off and get into a Mercedes-Benz and drive away. And that is not something I just made up. Okay, that was documented a few years ago on the news. They followed this person. It was a scam. And it was actually had other people working for her as well, pulling the same scam. So, yeah, you're going to...
It makes you think twice about having to give money to somebody.
Yeah. Well, first of all, if you want to help people in that kind of thing, I would say you don't give it directly to that person. You put your money into institutions, into charitable organizations that do help these people. There are problems with that too. I understand that. But, not directly. Also, here in our country, as Americans will accuse us of being, we tend to be more socialistic than Americans do. And we have a welfare system that is a very extensive system. It costs us a lot of money to have that system through our taxes. So there are ways and means of, if you are legitimately struggling. Of course, then the argument here is that these people have mental health issues and that's
drug issues
and drug issues and that. Well, then it becomes an endless circle, doesn't it? where there is no solution, like we talked a few weeks ago. What is affordable housing for people like that? Our politicians go on about affordable housing. Well, somebody who doesn't have a job, doesn't have any money, is living on the street. Affordable housing would be no money down, no interest payments, free. Because where are they going to get the money for a house, for accommodation? So I don't know. It's a vicious cycle, and I have no solution for it. If I did, I'd be a god with it all. Nancy says that's happening in the States as well. And so does Patricia say that, or Patrice says that as well. Derek says, we have lots of people from Ukraine who are being placed in local hotels. Lots of them want to work to pay their way, but the government isn't allowing it despite how short of workers we are. Local farmers and builders are desperate for help, but not officially allowed to take on asylum seekers. Lots of unofficial cash and hand work being done now because of this red tape. Yeah, well, here it doesn't seem like there's any red tape. You just say...
Yeah, because we've known people that have hosted Ukrainians, and they were able to find work here, so I don't think it's as, I mean, the work isn't glamorous what they get, but...
Yeah, but it's something. It's a start. It's a start. And if you have enough ambition, you'll make something out of that and move on to maybe greater things. Yeah. I mean, everybody has to start somewhere, but just to be standing there looking for a handout, and I'm not saying all of them are like that.
No, I mean, I think there's bad apples that make it bad, make it worse for ones that are actually in need. So,
but how many bad apples are there?
Yeah, but that's what we don't
like
know. Right?
When you say there's a bad apple, you think of a whole big bushel of apples, and one bad apple doesn't spoil the whole bushel, kind of a thing. Yeah, well, maybe there's more than one bad apple. Maybe there's a lot of bad apples. Maybe there's more bad apples than we are being very naive about this. Maybe there's more than we really think about it. But this brings you back to being politically correct. It's a fine line. You know, we know where the problem is coming from. We know the nationality and the ethnicity of the majority of these people. We do, but we cannot say anything about that. Our hands are tied, because as soon as we go that route, we become entitled white people, and we're racist. And yeah. So, you know, what do you do? What do you do? I don't know. Oh, Kim's here. Hi, Kim. Colleen says, a concern I have is the lack of housing and other infrastructure here for both the current population and lone additional people. The federal department needs a boot too. Yeah, exactly, Colleen. That's what I'm saying. We do not have the infrastructure in place to help these people, to help the legitimate ones. It's been thrown on the municipal city governments.
There's like churches and things like that have housed some of these people, and they're running out of finances too. So
now, okay, I'm playing devil's advocate now at this point, but the name of a couple of these churches that are taking in these people and doing all this stuff for them are not, you know, they're not
mainstream.
They're not Methodist, Catholic, Protestant, Presbyterian, Baptist, whatever. They're the church of what's happening now with the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. Well, I'm being funny there. Or, you know, one's called the Tabernacle of Faith or something like that. And their church is in a shopping mall, is in a strip plaza.
Which almost sounds really weird.
Yeah, and it to me, it sort of says, okay, are you really trying to do a good thing, or do you have ulterior motives that might not be quite as honorable? I don't know about that. You know, for example, let's take worst case scenario. If the government had actually come up with money and gave them money to do this, are they really channeling those funds into helping these people, or are they channeling some of the funds, but most of it they're keeping for their own whatever purposes? I don't know. These are what conspiracy theories are made of. So who knows? It's just very frustrating because we don't know. Derek says, I've noticed that Trudeau seems to be being viewed more negatively even in our media, whereas previously it was a glamorous poster boy who did nothing wrong. Exactly, Derek. I was a strong supporter of Trudeau. I voted for him in the last couple of elections and the whole bit. I thought he was a refreshing breath of air in comparison to what we had before he came into power, Harper, from the Conservative Party. I don't like the Conservative Party. I'm more of a liberal, and I thought when the pandemic broke out, he did everything right, and he took strong stance on it, and it was there, and admired him. Well, now I don't know. It's like maybe it's time he should step down. They need a new leader from the Liberal Party. The problem is everybody in politics is an a-hole, no matter what, and so is Trudeau. I really have lost a lot of respect for him for what he has been doing.
But right now the alternative isn't.
Well, I know the alternative
either,
is even worse. So we go back again, as we always do in politics. You vote for the devil. They're all devils. You vote for the one that you think will do the least amount of damage. But yeah, whatever. Kathy says, we in the U.S. have a homeless problem too. Many of those homeless are former military. Why are we not taking care of them? Yeah, I have seen things on American programs and that talking about the way that the veterans are treated in the States. And that is, I have my issues with the military, but nevertheless, these people, for whatever reason, they are in the military, they did their job, they did their duty, they risked their life in the whole bit, then they come back and they're put on the shelf somewhere and not looked after. And these people are suffering from mental issues, like who wouldn't? When you've been in a war, you're killing people, I would think that would have quite an effect on you. And, and some of them have physical disabilities as well. And yeah, I think that's shameful. And even in our own country, they do the same to our veterans too. The only thing about our country that's a little different is many of our soldiers don't necessarily see active warfare. They're usually more the peacekeepers. They're there, they're not right in it. I mean, I could be wrong about that, but from what I've heard, active duty is not quite as maybe the way it is in
probably Americans. Also because their military isn't as big as countries like the U.S. So,
but there's been criticism about how they're treated too, as well, by our government, which is shameful. It is shameful. Barb says pop-up churches.
Yeah, sort of. That's what they are. They don't seem to belong to any kind of mainstream religion or something. Yeah,
I like Mozilla. True dumb. Is getting too big for his britches. I thought he'd be refreshing too. Now, not so much. Yeah, well, he and Sophie have separated and all that. Not that that's neither here nor there in a way, but I don't know. Things are going to hell. It just doesn't, if you really start to think about it, it can really put you into a very depressed state of mind with it. But this whole thing, back to the refugee thing and claiming that, I'm bisexual, I'll be killed if I'm back there. Prove it. I don't get it. I mean, I really don't think it's right that they should be using a marginalized group or identify with a marginalized group in our country to get the sympathy vote or to get something that maybe they're not really entirely entitled to. Yeah, I know, as I said before, there are countries in the world. Well, guess what? You're one of them. Americans.
No, but those countries have existed all
No. Let me out. This was a segue. You're not good at it. Guess what the Canadian government has just declared about traveling in the States for the LGBT community? They have put out a travel advisory, basically a warning, if you're going to the States and you're a member of the LGBT community, be aware that there are some states where you will not be welcome. In other words, what they're saying is keep your head down. Guess which one of those states might be that we're going to in December? Georgia. Now, mind you, we are not going to parade into Georgia wearing pink frilly things and going, hello, people. No, that's not going to happen with it. But I just found it was really interesting 'cause I don't think there's ever been a time in our history of Canada and our relationships with the United States where our government has come out with a travel advisory about the United States with the LGBTQ community. That's kind of scary. Now, I know that there's a lot of problems down, especially in the southern United States, with the way they're treating the LGBT community and the whole bit. You know, they don't want drag queens to read books in libraries to small children. You know, to be honest, I have issues with that too. I really don't understand why we have to have a drag queen read a children's book. Because to me, that undermines what a drag queen really is. Not that I have a lot of respect for drag queens, because I don't consider it an art. I don't consider it really good entertainment. I mean, a guy in a dress lip syncing to a disco song, no. I mean, female impersonators, they're talented because they use their own voices and things like that. But drag queens? So why do drag queens feel that they need to read to small children? Because I think small children would look at them and, would love them, probably. Might scare a few and go, look, clown. Clown. A clown read us a book today, Mummy. Yeah, reading time at the library. However, I also don't think that the government should come down severely on them for doing that. Basically, that should have been something discussed. The people in the library must have been all from the LGBT community that started the program for it. I don't know what they were thinking for that. I don't understand it. Maybe I'm just an old fart. I'm just some old fag. I don't get it. I don't know. Mozilla says, oh yes, saw that advisory. And Derek says, I saw that travel warning too. It was reported on the BBC and they were asking if this was an overreaction or accurate. And Barb says, why is this an issue now? Don't know. Well, it's the Republicans and the Christian right.
Well, actually, I also think that a lot of times young people nowadays are a little bit more in your face.
Yeah.
Stuff. Whereas, like, used to be, when we went to a country which we thought were intolerant, we would be low key in those environments, right? But you get younger people, and younger people will often be defensive and be in your face.
Well, they're entitled.
Yeah.
The younger people, as we know, not just the LGBTQ youth. It's, a lot of the young people seem to be, entitled to things. But Glenna says, I heard about this and thought about you both. It's such a horrible situation. I'm sorry this is happening. But Stephanie says, I personally think it's an overreaction. I live in a conservative area. No one here would react negative to LGBT community. And Eva says also, I'm from Georgia and I've never heard of this. We do have a lot of LGBTQ people here. Yeah, I think it is an overreaction as well. And, now I think, if anything, our government is doing a disservice to the LGBT community by setting something up like that. And what Walter just said, the younger generation of these people might think, well, they can't do that to me. We're going to go right down there in Georgia and we're going to wear whatever we want to wear and we're going to be as flamboyant as hell and we're going to give them a hard time about it. And there are ones that think that way. And that's stupid.
Okay, so then the other argument for me is that the government is covering their rear end. Because if somebody flamboyant goes down there and makes a big stink and gets beat up or thrown in jail or something like that, they can't come crying back to the Canadian government and say, well, you didn't warn us that this would happen.
Yeah, they can't, but they will anyways.
Yeah,
they'll look for the government to bail them out of whatever trouble they get into. I mean, years ago, we had a couple of friends. And I'm talking many years ago when we used to be able to go across the border to the United States without showing a passport. We just had to show,
driver's license.
A driver's license, proof of residency in Canada, which is driver's license more than anything else. And they said something, and I can't remember exactly what it was, to the, how the customs guard says, okay, what is your purpose for coming into the United States of America? Where are you going? Blah, blah, blah. And they turned around or said something about, well, this is my partner or something. the one and the other one. And I don't, the way they told the story, the guy, the customs officer, was none too pleased with them or something like that. And I don't know if he actually initiated a search of their car or not. I can't remember. All I remember is they were completely indignant that how could he do that? And we said to them, in Canada, we have a human rights bill that protects us. But the United States do not have that. You're going into somebody else's country. You have to live by their rules. Well, that is stupid. You can't do that. They should allow that. And this is the attitude that I'm saying, that you'd get some of these people who would probably travel on purpose down to the southern United States and try to put up a protest or something on it. Hey, wait, you're Canadian. You're not American. The Americans can do whatever they want to do in their country. Like we can do what we want to do in our country. We have our laws, they have theirs. Don't be trying to make this a world humans rights issue in the whole bit. So, no, I'm not really worried about going to Georgia.
No.
With it in that way. But, why did our Canadian government suddenly do this? I mean, I listen to several different podcasts that are gay themed kind of a thing, and they're from the States, and they do talk about some of the issues from down in the southern states, Florida, the Don't Say Gay bill and all that kind of stuff, which all of that is completely ludicrous. But that's their governments. I don't think the average person really gives a shit. They're probably not out there. It's the extremists, right? It's always the extremists in everything. But really, what's our government doing these days? Where are their brains?
Sherlock says I travel overseas to any country and follow the country rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you should do. Like, we've been to Egypt before.
Yeah, and Egypt will kill you.
Egypt is not tolerable.
No.
It's not a tolerant country. But, you go there and you just
when in Rome,
do as the Romans do.
Yeah, really. That really does apply. You don't make waves. But anyways, our government thinks they're doing us a favor by warning us. Well, we're still going to Georgia, come hell or high water. But we won't be putting a huge high-heeled platform on top of our car, and I won't be sitting in there wearing things streaming from behind me singing opera. And if you don't know that reference, well, you're not gay. From it. Wendy Kidgen, if you're talking to me, it's Stephanie, not Stefan. Don't speak to me that way. Oh, okay. Okay. I don't know if we're having a little fight on here or not. But anyways, Derek says most people are just worried about making sure they can pay their bills and cope with life. Unlikely most people care more about all this in reality. Yeah, really. Yeah, exactly. And some people just seem to have to make something out of nothing for whatever reason. Colleen says the government is busy being extreme instead of getting the permanent residents we need to settle. Yeah, exactly. Maybe it's a diversion from what they're not doing. Maybe they think it's going to make us more endeared to them because they're protecting our abused LGBTQ people. I don't know. But anyway, speaking of that, just before we end, I am going to do something I've never done before officially on my vlog tomorrow. I'm doing a retraction of something I said last week. Last week, I talked about the LGBT community. And I talked about, some issues that are there, and I basically said I don't know why people are getting their knickers in a knot over different things, because here in Canada it's really good for LGBTQ community now and everything like that. We've got rights, we can get married. We're pretty much moving more into to being part of normal. And I use that with great big huge quotation marks, society. And that why are people still trying to fight for stuff we already have or feeling this way? I'm going to retract that, and you'll know why tomorrow when my vlog goes up, because I have done a little bit more research and found out Yeah, I've been living in a little bit of a cocoon for a while. I guess I am a white cis male in the gay community and I'm entitled. I didn't know that. Okay, but that's a teaser for the vlog. So be sure to tune into it when it comes out. Okay, just finishing up here. Um, Wendy says, and you think the southern states don't make waves? You can't tolerate me saying you live in
Layla
Layla
Land.
Land. I don't know what Layla Land is. Layla Land. Don't know what that is, Wendy. Kim says, enjoy Georgia. You'll be fine. Most people in the U.S. are awesome.
Or La La Land.
Or maybe it's La La Land. Maybe. Eva says, welcome to Georgia. Hope you have a great time. Oh, we know we will. We're going to Stephanie's retreat. We're looking forward to it. Can't wait. Yep. Going to be a great time. So anyways, I hope the rest of you have a great time with what's left of the long weekend and everything like that. And we'll see everybody next week and check for the things that I'll post. And there will be a So Chatty next week. Oh, I forgot to mention something. I said I was going to mention it at the very beginning there. Philippa from Australia called me today. Some of you know who I'm speaking of. And yeah, we're getting together on Tuesday. She's coming out to visit us, and we're going to go to the quilt store, and we're going to go out for lunch, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So looking forward to that. I'll be sure to report back next week about that. So anyways, everybody have a great week. We'll see some of you probably on Wednesday. And yeah, have a good one. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
There's something going on with Wendy and Stephanie.
Mm.
Because Stephanie, see, I'll bet you'll get a text message for her because Wendy said up here.
Who's Wendy Kling?
She's a regular.
Yeah, she's been around.
She's been around.